phones here and welcome you in at this hour, 10 o'clock, here for you on a Tuesday. And Ron currently has, we're going to see him a little bit later this morning. He's out exploring another part of the country, but beautiful shot here on traveltv.com. Thank you all for joining us. And we welcome you in. We have Desiree Fluellen here this morning. Good morning to you.
Hey. Good morning.
And Mike Pache. Good morning, my friend.
Yes, good to be here again.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So you just made the trek down maybe like 15 feet
Yes.
from LiveNOW upstairs.
The commute was well, you know.
No problems on the stairway.
Yeah. Well, it's so good to have you both, and all of you who are in the chat box. Thanks for joining, and thanks for joining us here this morning. We have a very special guest here this morning. So we have a boxing legend with us this morning, Laila Ali. Give you a little bit of background into who she is. Obviously, you know her, likely the greatest female boxer of all time, but she is jumping into the ring as host of Food Network's Chef Grudge Match. And we're going to get to some of your big national headlines and other headlines as well in a few moments. But first, let's chat with her this morning. Laila, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning. How are you?
We're doing fabulous. Thank you so much for sharing a part of your day. There's a lot of excitement surrounding the show and surrounding you. And, you have done an amazing job as this TV personality after such a successful career as a boxer in the ring. What do we have to look forward to here when it comes to this new show?
Oh, well, you're marrying the two things that I love, cooking and fighting, right? So you got these chefs coming in to do the fighting this time, not me. And they have some big egos. They have some big beefs that they want to settle. And I mean, we got stories that have been going on for years, and they have the opportunity to come in, tell me their side of the story. We got both sides of the story, and then they have to settle it in the kitchen that is right there. And they get $10,000 if they win. They get the bragging rights, and they get the other chef's coveted chef knife. So it is a lot of fun to watch. It gets really heated sometimes. We have our resident judge, Jet Tila, and then many of the faces from the Food Network, other elite chefs come in as guest judges to make the final decision of who's going to win and who's going to go home with their head down and without their knife.
All right. Well, set the scene for us a little bit tonight. We obviously don't want to let too much out of the bag. We want to get folks excited for the premiere. But give us a little taste of what we can experience on this first episode. What's a little bit of this beef about?
Well, you've got a chef who feels like his following, basically, all the people that have been supporting his restaurant and all of that, and his recipes have been taken by the other chef. And the other chef has his own side of the story, right? So you're going to see these two go head to head, right? There's a lot of trash talking going on to the point where, like, I feel like I have to step in at a certain point. And we have it gets heated. I'm like, come on, chefs, you want to be real fighters, some of them. But, it's all in fun, but they're really serious, because this is their livelihood on the line. And what I love about this show is you actually have a live studio audience that's egging it on, watching, and you're doing a lot of talking. Because if you come to the show, we expect you to talk. So even if you're not a talker, right, you're going to have your moment where you're going to have to say what you're going to do and why you want to do it. And, it's all happening in real time. There's a clock, that's going. Then you got these other elite chefs that are your peers in some cases, watching every moment because they can see what's going on. They can talk to them while they're actually competing. So sometimes that can be a little bit of a distraction. I'm walking around reminding you why you have this beef. So you got the drama, you got the elite level cooking,
instigation,
and then the
Yes.
answer. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you're going to square them up like it's a title match in the kitchen. Laila, I have to know, what's your go-to knockout meal that you like to make at home when
good question.
maybe you get home and you're like, okay, this is the comfort meal for me?
Oh, wow. There's so many. I would say that one of the ones that my family loves, my friend loves, is the recipe that I get the most phone call and texts about. Send me that recipe, because I do have it, on my phone, ready to send. It's also in my cookbook, Food for Life. That would be my chicken and gravy.
Yum.
And it's, I call it stewed chicken sometimes, but it's actually a take on a classic, but it's made in a healthier way. I make it with my organic spice blends, my Laila Ali spice blends, and a lot of my friends and family have the spice blends, so they're able to make the recipe. So that's one that I think everyone loves, and it's definitely a knockout. Like if I was going to go compete against Bobby Flay, which I don't want to do, I would be like, Bobby, we're making my stewed chicken and gravy, and I don't think you'd be able to beat me.
So
Don't tell him I said that. Don't tell him I said that.
Oh, you're on record now, Leila.
I'm glad you brought up competing, though. I was doing a little research, and it looks like Clarissa Shields.
Oh, no, not that name.
Don't say
that's
that
like
name.
the boogeyman. Like, if you say her name, she just pops out anywhere. But what's your question?
What is she doing thinking she wants to challenge you? This has kind of made some big headlines the last few days.
It has made some big headlines, and you know what? The thing is that it all started because I co-hosted one of the biggest platforms on Netflix. We had women's boxing for the first time, which was a phenomenal night. It was a historic night. All these amazing women had the opportunity, and I did a impromptu interview with one of the fight blogs. They're the ones that always get it going, these blog interviews, and we're talking about the night and how wonderful it was, and then they asked me a question. If they said they heard a rumor I was making a comeback, and I said, no, the rumor that you might have heard is that I don't want to make a comeback. And I said, but if somebody offers me $15 to $20 million, I might think about it. And that's all it took, was for me to say I'd think about it, and I'm getting like offers, like literally multiple offers to come back, and I'm like, okay, in hindsight, I wouldn't have said it, even though it was true. But the reason why I said I would think about it, not that I was actually trying to, make a comeback, was because I'm like, wow, women's boxing has this platform now. Imagine if I was to come back, because I'm the only woman that can actually come back and make that kind of money now that I didn't even think it was possible, but I'm getting all these offers, and how it would take women's boxing to the next level, right? It would give these women a new ceiling to reach. And once one person does it, guess what happens next? Then everybody else sees what's possible. So there's some pressure on me, but imagine coming back after 20 years, how much work that would take. So thinking about it is one thing, but I will give an answer soon, because right now I'm really focused on this, and the world will know where I stand on that very soon.
Well, if anybody could do it, I mean, you can. I wouldn't mess with you with 21 knockouts here. Is this something maybe that you'd seriously consider? You're just going to leave us hanging there?
What I'm saying to you is, because like you said, there has been, again, I don't ever say that name, because it's like I'm talking about myself and my life and my career, but in this person, like if they just pop up out of nowhere and assert themselves into the conversation, and there's been this whole circus that's kind of started, and again, like I said, I am going to give you an exact answer to that question once I get past all of this, because the most important thing right now is what this show and me, being professional and handling the things that I've had in play for a long time, and not getting sidetracked just because somebody decides to go on a publicity stunt to try to get attention using my name. I can't do that.
I have to say, I'm so glad you mentioned on staying on track, because you are beautiful, you are strong, and you still look amazing. And so let us in, if you can, what's your workout routine like? Like, are we talking like every day, 3 times a week, and give us a little tip on maybe if you've got something good to keep us slim. These days. So, and that's a challenge, because I'm 47 years old. Ooh, looking good.
I'm 47 years old, and, once you hit those 40s, the hormones start going, and I had to find a way to maintain my weight. And what's actually been working for me is fasting, not just intermittent fasting, but long-term fasting. I talk about this on my Instagram page and all of that. I mean, I'm doing 3-day fast sometimes. I'm doing 36-hour fast other times. But to answer your question about the working out, because diet is so important, what you actually do eat. I've always, pretty much all my life, especially since I became a boxer, I started eating very clean. I cook a lot at home, but I don't eat a lot of processed food. And in terms of workout, no, I don't work out every day, especially with the fasting. I have learned that it's no more, at this age, it's not about working hard anymore. It's about being consistent. So I do like uphill walking on the treadmill. I actually put on like a weight vest, like a 25-pound weight vest that just helps me burn, calories and burn some of that cortisol, right? At this age, we know that word. And then I do lift weights, because, as you've probably heard before, it's really important to lift weight. I'm not afraid to lift heavy, maybe 3 times a week. And I also get on my cycle and do some cycling. So I like to mix it up. And of course, I still hit the heavy bag. That's always going to be a part of my workout.
Yes.
I do a little bit of boxing. But I'm not working hard. I'm being consistent. That's key.
Good.
Doing something that's going to work for you, that you can do on the long term, and then challenging yourself. Because once you get started and it gets too easy, you got to take it up a notch.
Well,
that's
girl,
awesome.
It's paying off. You look phenomenal.
Congratulations on all your success. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. We know you got other stations to chat with as well. So we look forward to Chef Grudge Match. Laila Ali, thank you for your time this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good luck. Best of luck in the future as well. Isn't she amazing?
It really
my
is.
gosh,
Really. And
incredible.
that show seems really interesting because, I mean, you're having employees of a restaurant who probably didn't get along, maybe a chef and,
Yeah.
a sous chef going at it.
Yeah.
Stolen recipes.
Yeah.
Like, what? Don't go there. Like, you want to fight? Let's fight.
Yeah.
We're going to fight it out on the
my
show for
goodness.
sure.
Let's talk about some stories here in Arizona. I know a lot of people are talking about the marijuana. Is it dangerous? The reclassifying. We're going to get to that in a little bit as well. Let's go right to the story. It's all about Sandra Day O'Connor this morning and a new poll out really that is shedding some light on who she was here in Arizona and really the impact that she made as well. So let's go ahead and pop this up. And voters pick Sandra Day O'Connor. This is according to a new poll on Axios as the most influential figure in Arizona history. The former Supreme Court Justice beat Senator John McCain in the final round of voting. Her career in public service spans decades, including becoming the first woman on the U.S. Supreme Court. She also was a state legislator, an Maricopa County Superior Court judge, and an Arizona Court of Appeals judge. She made such a huge impact on Arizona.
Yeah, I mean, she really did, and to go to the lengths that she did to reach the federal level,
Yes.
You figure, and be such an inspiration to women not only in Arizona but across the country.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, she grew up on a ranch in southern Arizona, and she moved here to Phoenix, raised a family, and her home that she actually lived in is like a historic place that's protected now. I did a cool house story on it, and it's over by the Papago Mountains.
Oh,
and
beautiful.
it is so impressive. She was one of the most amazing figures in Arizona history. And now to a new poll, they say, yeah, that's in fact the case. There is former President Barack Obama, of course, awarding her as well this morning. All right, let's talk about ASU as well, the Sun Devils. This is big time. So ASU ranked 11th in the Associated Press preseason top 25 poll. The returning Big 12 champs also ranked 11th in the coaches preseason poll, which was released earlier this month. Mike, I know you're a big sports fan. Your thoughts on this?
Oh, man, just great job by Kenny Dillingham and just the program that he set forward here. I mean, look at the program you figure maybe 4 years ago. Did you think that it was going to be this fast to this level?
No,
I mean,
my goodness,
They're
no.
selling out season tickets now. I mean, they're getting people now, back on the program national-wise. I mean,
Isn't
look
it
at they made
wild?
the playoffs last year and went deep.
It was amazing. All right, we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to pop up the mystery cam for you real quick. We're going to continue this conversation and get into some of those other big headlines when we come back. All right, welcome back, everyone. 10:15 this morning, and you are looking live at our mystery camera. We do have a few of you chiming in the chat box on a possible location here. Mike, any thoughts? You and Desiree first want to chime in on this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking somewhere in the Midwest. I'll go St. Louis.
St. Louis.
Oh, that's a good guess.
Okay.
I have no idea. I'm going to go with the Aviator, Kansas City. Sure.
Okay.
Sounds good.
There you go.
All right. Let's see if we can find any like landmarks. Are there any landmarks that might? Patricia, are you on this morning? Patricia's always great as being able to kind of spot.
Yeah, Brandy the Bookworm is thinking Chicago.
Louis Gonzalez says Illinois. Frankie D says PA. And Jens Wall says Chicago as well. Okay, I might go Chicago with all of you. Illinois. You want to do the honors?
Reveal, Mike?
All right, here we go.
All right, hold on. Let me throw your shot up here. Oh, wait, there we go. All right, buddy.
All right.
And the
Survey
answer
says Kansas City.
Kansas
Nice.
City.
Look at that.
Nice.
Yeah, way to go.
Hey, there's a couple people in the chat that were correct.
Yeah, they were right.
Absolutely.
Great guesses.
Okay, let me give you another quick shot of that. That's a beautiful city. Look at that.
Nice.
So pretty. All right, we are going to get right to, let's finish off this conversation with ASU real quick if we can. And I'll go back to this video here with ASU. So real quick, the Devils top ranked team in the conference, best preseason ranking since 1998. You kind of touched on that a little bit, Mike. And just like in the coaches poll, the top team this year is the team that knocked ASU out of the college football playoff last season, the Texas Longhorns. A lot of people question whether or not the Longhorns, there were some bad calls. Did either of you see that game?
Oh yeah, I mean it definitely could have went either way, but
Yeah.
it's something how when a bad call happens, the momentum shifts so fast.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but the head coach here with Dillingham, he's come in and really given this team new life.
A new spark.
And yeah, they told him today during an interview that, your team is ranked pretty well. What do you think? And he goes, I think the number 11 ranked team deserves an indoor training facility.
Ooh,
yeah.
Especially
What
here
do you
in
guys
Arizona.
think? Yeah, right? Yeah.
The question is, where are they going to put it, right? What are they going to take out? But it is actually very, very exciting when you take a look at it. The Texas Longhorns, I think ASU can beat them this year.
That would be nice.
I think they
that
can
would be
beat 'em.
nice.
Yeah, can't wait.
All right. This morning, we are also talking about some national coverage, including what is happening there in Ukraine. This morning, we have Professor Mikhail Alexseev, and he is a professor of political science at San Diego State University, taught there since the year 2000 and served also as the Bruce E. Porteous Chair. Professor, good morning. Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you. We appreciate your time this morning. I know you have a lot of research that you focused on and that you're working on this morning. What are your thoughts on what's happening overseas in Ukraine at this hour?
Well, we have the continuing war of Russian aggression and Ukraine defending itself. Russia uses huge firepower advantages. They launch several hundred drones and missiles at Ukrainian cities, mostly civilian infrastructure every day. They launch 4,000 to 5,000 artillery shells at Ukrainian positions and villages, cities across the front line. They launch about 100 glide bombs that are a big problem, that weigh between 0.5 ton and 3 tons each, and that are impossible to knock down once they are released from the plane. So, and Russia also is pushing with its advantages in manpower. Ukraine is defending itself very valiantly. They are flexible. They are very determined. They have a terrific drone industry and production and innovation going on. They, of course, have our support and support of our allies. So that's what's going on there. And it's the continuation of Russia's war of aggression. Putin can stop it any day, but he doesn't.
And speaking of President Putin, what do you make of this upcoming summit that President Trump and President Putin are going to have in Alaska? Is this something where you think President Putin is kind of just dangling this ceasefire and really nothing's going to come of it? What's your thoughts?
Well, part of the answer is yes to what you said. I would also add that, we know that President Trump is a bold, audacious person. He has a determination to stop the killing, very noble. But it's a very risky endeavor to try to reach this kind of deal with Putin, because we have to, first of all, understand what is at stake for both sides of the summit. For Putin, the only thing he needs to do to declare the summit a success and even say that it's a win against the United States is to shake hands with Donald Trump and achieve nothing, conclude nothing of substance, maybe some platitudes, maybe some promises, but just kind of skirt around the issue. For Donald Trump to show that the United States actually has power and influence and heft, he needs to achieve something more concrete, like, for example, Russia's agreement to sign up to the 30-day ceasefire that he proposed and to which Ukraine already signed. So that is what's at stake. And we also should not forget who he is up against. 25 years of Putin's rule. He is a nasty, devious, and probably the most anti-American leader in the world. Of course, he's very crafty, very manipulative, KGB school, and all that. So there's a lot to confront there in Alaska.
So, Professor, there's so many headlines surrounding this conflict, right? There have been for quite some time, but the European Union had made their position pretty clear. President Donald Trump on Monday mentioned land swapping. Where do you stand with that?
Well, we have to understand that this is not a sort of black and white issue. A lot of Ukrainians, for instance, that I talked about in focus groups and that we interviewed in surveys in recent, since the war began, they actually say, it depends how this issue is handled. A lot of them, for example, would not want Russia to be rewarded, and the majority of them would not want Russia to be rewarded with capturing Ukrainian territory. But at the same time, they say, if we have a ceasefire and then we have a political dialogue and resolution, we hope that in the long run, we can get more territories back through economic pressure, through diplomatic efforts, and so on. So it's not such a clear-cut issue. So there is a possibility there for some kind of deal and for some kind of solution. But ultimately, I think it depends on how convincing President Trump can make his case that Russia would suffer significantly more costs if it doesn't sign up to the ceasefire deal.
Speaking of that ceasefire deal, Professor, the fact that Vladimir Zelensky, there's no plans for him to be at that meeting, does that hurt or help him or hurt or help the deal? These international relations, it can tend to be, quite volatile. Is it important for him to be there or not? What are your thoughts?
Well, ideally, the fact that Russia is balking at having Zelensky at the table, and we're actually open to it. The White House said we are open to that kind of development. But the fact that Putin is against it is already an indication that he's not really interested in some kind of compromise, some kind of peace deal. And in fact, even the ceasefire, he puts conditions on the ceasefire itself.
All right. Well, we appreciate your time this morning, Professor. Thank you so much for joining us. Mikhail Alexseev, a professor at San Diego State University, and we hope to have you on again another time very soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that there is so much developing overseas, and especially come Friday, I think there'll be a lot more, developing, and we'll have more headlines.
Oh, sure.
Coming out of there.
You figure there's probably more pressure on President Trump to sort of get some sort of deal to come back to and announce, rather than, like he says, Putin just is going to take the win that he's on a U.S. soil once again. It's been now 10 years since he's been on U.S. soil.
Yeah.
And there's been some tension between the two as of late, too. So it'll be curious to see what comes out of this meeting on Friday.
Definitely.
They can, soften that relationship a bit.
Right.
So President Trump also announcing a federal takeover of Washington, D.C. Police Department. This has been a big headline we've been covering for the last couple of days in order to fight violent crime in the area. So now the newest development people taking to the streets to protest the president's federal takeover. Trump announced the federal government will take over. Let me give you the number here. Bring 800 National Guard soldiers. His administration also reassigned more than 100 FBI agents to patrol the streets of D.C. at night. Meghan McCain, John McCain's daughter, was on the radio this morning. I was listening to her, and she said they had something here locally because obviously it's an Arizona family. She lived in D.C., and I believe that's home to her now. And she lived in New York for a number of years, and she said there is a problem with violence, especially among youngsters in D.C. She's like, they're not too far off base here. Trump says there's been a surge in violent crime committed by minors who don't face harsh of sentences. Let's get right to what some people had to say on this very issue this morning, and it gives you an idea maybe of what we're looking at here. Oh, nope, wrong one. Hold on one second. Let me bring you back to, here it is.
This issue directly impacts the functioning of the federal government and is a threat to America, really. It's a threat to our country.
This is not about crime. This is about control. This is not about public safety. This is about power.
So what this now allows, the federal government to do, the law allows the president to take over the D.C. Police Department for up to 30 days. I know you've been covering this as a national headline, Mike. What have you heard or learned in the last few days?
Yeah, so it's interesting that this 30-day policy is going to be in place, and they're going to see if they could get sort of a dip in the amount of crime. And really, just one day going into it, unfortunately, there was a murder last night in Washington, D.C. So I think there's a big exclamation point on why they need these resources from the federal government in D.C. But when you look at some of these protests, you're wondering, are these people against, crime going down? Because I know that they want more people not to have, federal control.
Right.
But it's going to have to come down to a reason where you need to feel safe in your own city.
Yeah.
Of course. And I mean, right, if anyone with common sense, you would think is what they want too, if they live in D.C. But I guess we have to do more digging here. Do they want more of a collaborative effort between local law enforcement agencies and federal government? Did Trump just wake up one day and say, hey, we're taking over? It'd be curious to know what the conversation was like there, because the mayor there has been pretty outspoken about the fact that crime has gone down since 2023. Yeah. So, we'll see. We'll see. The worry is, can this be done in other cities, I think was the big question.
All right, we'll continue the conversation in a brief moment. Here's a quick look at another booming city around the nation. We'll be right back after a quick break. it's right there on water, maybe some warehouse districts and a pretty church there in the foreground. Let's go ahead, and I want to give a big shout out to Big D. There he is, right there. Hey, buddy. Good morning.
Good morning.
He is Big D. You're managing the YouTube poll and the poll question. It's about reclassifying marijuana.
That's true, and we've got more than 1,300 votes already and almost near 90 comments.
Wow.
So, yeah, we'll chat about some of those comments soon.
All right, we're going to talk about the story in a second as well. And I think I just saw Bella Bomb. Hi, Bella. Good morning. All right, welcome back, everyone. Let's go. We have Irene Snyder here. Irene, good morning. Good to see you.
Just got back from the field,
You're
so
busy.
sit down a minute.
I know. You're like, okay, take a deep breath.
I just got back from the field.
Like, this is a break, right?
Right, it is.
It's air conditioned in here, which is a good
It's
thing.
always wonderful in
I
summer.
know. We're
Yeah.
going to see
Although in the winter,
112.
at some points it can get cold. You need a blanket.
Yes.
Yeah.
You had a great story talking about AI non-emergency calls. What is that about?
So basically, with the Phoenix Police Department that's going to be starting this, and they said that they take so many non-emergency calls during the year, about 500,000, and you can think sometimes those don't need to be solved by another person on the line. Sometimes they can get their answer another way, get it in the system. So they're going to have those taken now by AI. But the good news is, if
Interesting.
someone isn't comfortable talking to AI, they can have an option to still talk to a dispatcher.
So is that a phone call or like a chat, or so?
My
Like it's like-
understanding is it's a phone call. They can call, they can talk to them, they can get their questions answered that way. But then if they want to talk to a dispatcher,
There's
keep
another
going through.
number.
There's another way to go through.
Yeah,
There's another
interesting.
option.
That is cool. So when they call, are they going to be? Is it going to be clear that they're talking to AI? I mean, when we make calls, sometimes we'll get the bot and
Sure.
the prompts that you have to press, whatever.
I was like,
Is it
I
kind
haven't
of a call
tried
like
calling,
that,
so I'm
or-
not entirely sure about. I'll have to try it, I guess. I think it
So-
launches tomorrow.
Well, did they explain how it works, or
They didn't explain exactly who's
Okay.
going to be on the other. I mean, it's AI,
It's
but
AI, yeah.
I imagine some kind of
Yeah.
Siri type
Yeah.
voice.
You
is
know,
what I'm
have
thinking.
either of you called 911 recently?
No.
Okay, so I've
No.
called several. I called
You've
several.
called several.
Yeah.
What's going on over
So
there?
here's the thing: if I'm driving down the road and I see somebody collapsed, or if I see somebody at a bus stop and they look like they're need help, or there was one time we were driving along Greenway and like it was near the 51, and somebody looked like they were having like a heart issue. They were like on the side of the road near this building, and then I'll call 911, and usually they answer right away. So maybe this is a way. And then there's other times where they don't answer right away, and you're thinking, okay, what's happening? Maybe they don't have the manpower at the dispatch center. So maybe this will help kind of field some of those calls and then direct, because what happens is you called 911 and they'll either send you, okay, I'm going to send you to Phoenix Fire, or okay, I'm going to send you to DPS. And so maybe that way they kind of direct those phone calls.
Sure. I think the kind of way they described it was like a screening process. AI can kind of get those first few calls in, and they speak, well, the person, the AI
bot
can communicate in 36 different languages.
Oh, wow.
Which I thought that was interesting to be able
Oh, well,
to
that
communicate
could
with
be
anyone.
helpful because
Yes, exactly.
generally, what person can speak that many
languages. The average person has
Yeah.
to find a translator. In this case, don't have to worry about that.
That's interesting.
Okay.
Husky Mom says, hopefully it's not like Walmart AI. It just goes in circles. Circles and circles and circles. So hopefully they've actually tested out the process. When does this begin, Irene?
I believe they said it was tomorrow. Let me double check my notes. Yes, tomorrow. It goes live tomorrow.
Wow.
So someone will have to let us know exactly how it goes on the other line. I
Yeah,
hate to
and
call the
hopefully-
non-emergency line and cause a
Yeah.
problem, but
Right,
we'll have to
yeah.
know how it goes.
So the line, according to some of the information, used to report issues such as past crime, stolen property, noise complaints, which I think, some of the things maybe that like the neighborhoods
Sure.
deal with in the valley. And if the caller needs an officer to respond, the call will then be transferred to a 911 operator as well. Let's go ahead and take a listen to what we have to, we have a piece of an interview here for you.
Residents complaining at community meetings that they were on hold for hours or were on hold so long that they were giving up at the 45-minute or 60-minute mark. And you could see the long list of people waiting, and it's very stressful for them. Our dispatchers have a heart to help people, and they already have a stressful job. So adding to that stress by knowing that they have a long list of calls that they can't get to, or it's going to take them a long time to get to, anything we can do to help them have a less stressful job and our residents to be served better is an important thing to add to our toolbox.
That's a really important point. You have like some of those, if you're on hold for 45 minutes,
Yeah, especially if it's not, I mean, obviously you have your direct emergencies need immediate response, but people don't want to wait 45 minutes. They might hang up by that point. And actually interesting, the video we're seeing on the screen, I was actually at this story last week. This is the new dispatch center.
Okay.
So they were just kind of training some people in there when I went. So that was really interesting to see. They have a great view, by the way.
Where is that? Where is it? Is it in? Where is it?
It's in downtown Phoenix. I have to double check the streets of that. That was my story from last week, so I don't have the notes in front of me. But I will say, I think it was on like the 12th or 13th floor or something.
Wow.
Compared to before downtown, right by our station,
Mm-hmm.
they were pretty much in the basement for the dispatch center. So everyone there was really excited to have a beautiful view of Phoenix.
Well, it's a really, I mean, being a dispatcher, that's a high stress job. So it's nice. They were, like you mentioned, not in the dungeon anymore. But I even know some departments will offer dispatchers sleep breaks and rest breaks because calls they take are very, very stressful. It's a high intense job. So when people call Phoenix Police, that non-emergency line, that's when this AI tool.
That's what the understanding is. I mean, if you're calling in
when
someone
you
has a heart
call
attack,
911, you will still get a dispatcher.
I mean, I've looked before, you saw like, I think there was one time months ago, I saw like a dog on the highway. You usually call it DPS or something. There was one other time, I think we called a non-emergency line. Same thing. You're not going to call 911 for something like that. So.
Well, hopefully this does help. Yeah, they want to modernize and speed up those response times. So it'll be interesting to see how this launches tomorrow.
Brandy the Bookworm says she's shocked as big as Phoenix is that we don't have the ability to text a 911 yet. It would be so helpful for people in so many different circumstances. The language thing, though, that's amazing.
36 languages.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to know actually a breakdown of what 36 languages those are.
Right?
I'm curious.
Yeah. Well, we are a very multicultural city. We have, we're the 5th largest city in the country, north of like 4 million people that live in the city. And so we have a big community of people who've moved here and live here from all around the world.
Yeah.
I mean, you imagine the average person, you could have like Spanish speaking, English speaking, but how many people that speak, German, Greek, all these other Russian languages.
Right, besides maybe some of the most common. Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, we're going to get to this story here, and you're going to hang out for it as
I'll stay
well.
along with
Irene,
you guys.
thank you so much. We're talking this morning about reclassifying marijuana. Big D kind of touched on this at the top of the 10:30 half hour. There's a poll question for you on YouTube. It's at the top of the chat if you want to click on that and then share. And give us your thoughts on this. I know a lot of people chimed in at the top of the hour. Maybe they thought we were going to chat about it, but we're going to get to it now. So President Trump says his administration is looking at possibly reclassifying marijuana as a less dangerous drug. And we had a couple people chiming in the chat early on. And one person said, other countries don't have as, strong of laws, as stringent of laws in other countries when it comes to marijuana. The president posted on his social media that he believes it's time to end needless arrests of adults for small amounts of marijuana for personal use. But this could become controversial among some people in his base. Do you guys agree? Or what are your thoughts on this? Reclassifying and whether or not he may face a little bit of backlash when it comes to this decision.
I mean, he could be going out on a limb there, right? But he did make mention to the fact that, he's kind of considering both sides here, the positivity that has come out of medical use marijuana, obviously, versus, recreational. And just reading more about the reclassifying, it would go down to a scheduled 3 drugs, so reducing some of those heavier penalties without making it fully legal. So maybe he can strike a middle ground.
Well, and I think it's different.
He pleases everyone,
right? Medical marijuana is there's laws around that and how it's grown,
it's regulated,
and so this one is like we're talking about straight pot. Like it's a completely different drug, which could be coming from other countries, in fact. So I think there's a lot of questions here. And
maybe it'll make it easier, too, when you look at the country as a whole and, a federal level. I mean, every state has different rules. I feel like wouldn't it be easier if it was kind of the same across the board?
The CW in the chat says marijuana in many countries gets you life. So that's in some of the other countries around the world. Listen to this. We got reaction from attorney Jeremy Rosenthal about what it would mean at the federal level and also from a banking standpoint this morning. So let's take a listen to this.
On the federal front, what it means is that the criminal penalties for this type of possession are going to be less severe, but it doesn't change state to state what the laws against marijuana or cannabis might be. So it's not going to have that big of an impact, but it's really going to revolutionize, if anything, the business of marijuana. Currently, as it is right now, banks would be funneling drug money in essence because it's a Schedule I narcotic. Once that's relaxed, banks are a lot more likely to get involved, to lend to certain businesses and allow certain businesses to grow.
So the Biden administration considered reclassifying marijuana, but ultimately did not act. So if this did happen at the federal level, laws concerning marijuana would still vary from state to state.
Would still vary from state to state. Okay.
It is interesting, especially you think of people who travel to different states and then they're, able to do it there and not another place. Just interesting to see the different political lines there with that.
All right, let's get to Big D. Let's get to Dave here this morning and see if maybe he wants to chat about, hey, buddy, good morning.
Well, hello, friends. Yeah, we've got more than 1,400 votes on our YouTube poll right now. You can show the results in a little bit, but a couple of the comments I just wanted to read out. GEW9487 says marijuana is an entry-level drug. It's dangerous, addictive, and destroys lives. I ran drug and alcohol problems for my employer. I've seen too many careers, families, marriages, and lives destroyed by marijuana use. Trump is wrong on this one. But then Deadly-US argues, for people who don't know, marijuana is currently in the same Schedule I class as heroin.
Oh, wow.
That is insane. So really interesting perspectives, really interesting poll results as well.
Yeah, here's a look at what Dave was just talking about. Thanks, Dave. That was awesome. Do you agree with President Trump about reclassifying marijuana as a less dangerous drug? 68% of you say yes, it is long overdue and will lead to fewer needless arrests. 14% of you say no, marijuana should stay classified as it is. And 18% of you say it won't make a difference since state laws will all still vary. Desiree, do you want to go over the poll question here?
Yeah, and then this is it's the same question, different platforms here. So the others are YouTube poll, but same question. And when we look at the percentages here, 69%. So it still seems like that has the majority in this poll. Yes, it's long overdue. 18% of voters here say no, marijuana should stay classified as it is. And 13% it won't make a difference since the state laws will still all vary.
Yeah. And so it's pretty odd that we actually have both of our poll questions that actually, mirror one another. Mm-hmm. Irene, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me today.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
We so appreciate you. This is a live look at another beautiful city around the country. We'll find out where it is. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. across the country on this Tuesday morning. And thank you all for hanging with us on Fox 10 Talks. And by the way, I'm going to back up off this microphone. It seemed a little hot there. But many of you kind of were chiming in the chat box. And this Awatuki AZ Doctor says this is Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Is that right, Big D? Milwaukee. He said
Not sure, but maybe.
Not sure.
Maybe. I think Patricia even chimed in. Yeah, she said Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So that's where we believe. Patricia's kind of
Patricia's usually always right.
She's got it going on. Yeah, so we have a very special guest. We're so glad so many of you have hung out with us here because we have a very special guest who's chimed in, and you may know his name. His name is Ron Hoon. Ron Hoon, look at you. This is so beautiful, buddy.
Oh my
Good
goodness.
morning.
Hi, Ron.
See that lighthouse behind me, you guys? And you know what's just beyond that lighthouse is Lake Superior, which honestly looks like an ocean. It stretches forever and forever. Right over there is Wisconsin. I'm in Duluth.
It's so
Celeste,
awesome.
Duluth, Wisconsin, or Duluth, Minnesota, with Wisconsin right across the river over there. And here's what's so cool, and I hope this happens in the next couple of minutes while I'm chatting with you ladies here. Let me just turn this phone around. They have one of only 2 bridges in the world that is a vertical lift bridge. Can you guys see that right there?
Yeah.
So
Is
when
this the aerial
anytime
lift
a
bridge?
ship comes through, and I'm hoping to see one because they have these 1,000-foot long ships that haul ore out of this part of the world and to the mills further downstream. Everybody remembers that song, The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Well, it all kind of started right around here. Anyway, every time a bridge or a ship comes through there, look what happens.
Oh, wow.
They lift that bridge right up to the sky. They lock it in place. And I'm just told, they told me it happens as much as 20 times a day. So stand by. We're waiting for a ship to come through here.
Well, as
at the locks in Duluth.
As you're standing by, Ron, you mentioned Wisconsin is just on the other side. So way back in, early in history, was there like a big war that took place, a battle in the waters between the Wisconsinites and the Minnesotans?
Celeste, I wish there was, so I could tell you a great story about it, but I think it was all peaceful people. It was like a bunch of fur trappers out here. In fact, this is kind of interesting. This city of Duluth was named after a French explorer whose name was something like Grey Salon sur del Hout. And the locals around here said, we'll just call it Duluth.
So listen,
that's a little easier.
So Ron, I just want to let you know that lots of people in the chat are like, we miss you, Ron. We miss you, Ron. And they're waiting.
Okay.
They're glad that you're waiting for the bridge because they really want to look at this take place.
Oh, I've seen a ton of videos. I mean, people celebrate it. They're cheering, they're whooping every time that bridge goes up because you know what? That thing was built in 1920 and it still works. It's one of, I think, only 2 in the world. Let me see if I can give you a better view of it right here. Look at that thing.
That is so
That's
cool.
pretty
I don't know.
impressive.
Some bridge salesman must have come through here and said, look, I got an idea for a bridge. There's, like I said, there's only 2 of them in the world. But yeah, after 105 years, it still works, and it's a big thing when one comes through here.
Do you have, walk us through your day, buddy. You got up. When did you drive into Duluth? I mean, and did you get some brekkie at a cold diner, or was it like a drive-through to Mika D's?
Well, as you probably are aware, I always look for a value. So at the Comfort Inn where I'm staying, they provide a free breakfast.
Oh,
So
wow.
Continental breakfast.
Do they have a waffle maker?
But actually, of course, they have the waffle maker. But I'm just going to show you guys. They have, I think I got a second here until at least I'm looking for any big ships right now. I don't see any. But I'll just show you around here.
Yeah,
Here's
please.
kind of
What
the
is
food.
that?
So this is, what's that? That's called Grandma's Saloon.
Oh.
And
Grandma.
right over here, if you can believe it, the museum is closed today, but this is the Army Corps of Engineers. You can tell that building's been around for probably 100 years or so. And they have a whole museum that tells the history of the shipwrecks and everything else. But I mean, I see people on 2-seater bicycles And I bet you just right in this little downtown area of Duluth, I bet there are, I don't know, at least a dozen cool looking restaurants and cafes. So yeah, come lunchtime here pretty soon, I might have to head on over.
Okay, Ron, we're showing off your
watching-
photographs.
We're seeing you eat lunch
Okay.
here at DQ.
Look at the guy on the left. You guys know I love a DQ.
Yes.
There's a thing called Minnesota Nice. Spending the whole week in Minnesota. The guy over there on the left, I think road construction, something like that.
Yeah.
He was telling me his whole life story. He's like, are you from around here? And I said, I'm not from around here. He said, I went to this DQ when I was a little boy. And it's the first time I came back. I went and saw the Mary Tyler Moore statue.
That's so great.
Remember the old TV show? Well, they put a statue up on the street corner in Minneapolis, right where she tossed her hat into the air. By the way, that was take 2, ladies. Take 1.
only 2 takes?
Yeah, it blew right back into her face. Now,
wow, wonderful photo, Ron.
I went to a Minnesota Twins game, and the thing that I thought was especially cool, there is a guy, he's top 12 all time in Major League Baseball for home runs. His name is Harmon Killebrew, and he passed away a few years ago, but he lived in the Valley. He called Scottsdale home for about 20 years. And look at that, he has not played for the Minnesota Twins since 1974. But they honor him still at the ballpark. Like you see people walking around wearing Harmon Killebrew shirts. And I'm like, yeah, that's our boy.
That's awesome.
He's from the Valley of the Sun as well. So, you know, ladies, it goes like this. I noticed that one of the other morning shows right now is doing 50 states in 50 days. I don't know if you picked up on that.
No, I haven't. No, we haven't actually.
All right. So come on back to me here, and I'll show you a little bit more of the bridge and everything else. We're waiting. Anyway, 50 states in 50 days.
That's too much. That's too much, Ron. That's too much.
Too much. I'm doing 1 state in 7 days.
That's more like it.
That's more enjoyable.
That's not skimming the surface. That's really learning about a place.
Right.
Yeah, and what's the budget on 50 states in 50 days? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. Ron, I think your way is the way to go, bud.
Consider that particular show probably has catering. I've looked around. I see no catering for the Hooner. They probably have limos picking their talent up at whatever Comfort Inn they're staying at. And they're probably not staying at the Comfort Inn.
Well, remind everybody, Ron, why you're in Duluth, because you've already done 50 states, okay? So how about that, right? You've already been there, done that.
Des, that's such a good question. And when I was checking into the motel last night, the guy's like, what are you doing up around these parts? And I said, I decided that once a year, I'm going to pick a state and I'm going to learn it as well as I can and just kind of fall in love with the USA again. I don't know what state I'll pick next year, but it's just been great. I mean, I got a big day planned today. I'm going to go up the lake. There's the prettiest, I think, the prettiest lighthouse in America. You guys will have to look it up, but it's called Split Rock Lighthouse. It's about an hour's drive up Lake Superior, and I'll spend some time there, learn about its story, and then you guys hold on to your hats, but I'm going to the murder house.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, what's that about?
I know. I'm afraid that some of you might be a little too scared to enjoy it, but I'm going to go.
We all love a good murder mystery.
Yeah, I'll take one for the team. I'm going up to them. It's actually something like a 32-room mansion that's supposed to be spectacular. And they don't really talk about the murder, but apparently there was a murder up there. I'm going to go try to investigate.
All right, buddy.
Well, let me know when you want to head to Buffalo, Ron. You got a tour guide.
You know what? That's actually a really good idea, Des, because I would love to explore Buffalo. I've been to New York City. I've been to Albany, but there's a lot of. Now, let me ask you guys, if you were going to pick one state to just go explore.
Yeah.
We can ask this in the chat too. In fact, this is what I put on my Instagram this morning. Where would you go if you had a week to just explore a state that you really didn't know much about?
Isabella?
Where would you go?
Isabella, you start us off, sister.
Yes, I'm so sorry. I missed what Ron had said.
He said, "Oh, you don't have your
head."
headphones on." He said, "If there was one state you wanted to visit, where would it be?"
Maybe Texas, because I've only been to their airport during a layover. I've never explored Texas.
Yeah,
I would do Georgia. That's where my dad was born, so I'd like to explore his home state a little more, or birth state a little more.
That does.
Yeah.
How about you, Celeste?
I'd go Vermont because I want some fresh maple syrup, baby. Extra on the pancakes. Bring it. Yeah, so great. Ron, we have been loving riding along with you, and people are chiming in. Awatuki AZ Doctor says Utah.
Brandy,
and are you
Massachusetts?
Are you going to join us tomorrow as well? We got to wrap right now, but
Yeah, I probably could. We'll see where I am out on the open road, but I think tomorrow I'm exploring Judy Garland's hometown.
Ooh, how
Somebody
great.
sold the red slippers from the Wizard of Oz, and nobody knows where they went. Right out of that museum in that little town. I think I'm heading there tomorrow.
you know, Ron, it's
Probably
wonderful.
Renee's closet.
It's wonderful to see you in a suit here at work, but I got to tell you, buddy, that cash shirt that looks good on you. Vacation
Nice.
looks great on you, buddy.
Okay, thank you, ladies. Great talking to you.
Okay.
We miss you. Bye. We miss you.
Bye, Ron. We'll see him in just a little bit. We wanted to make sure that we
he's
left
the best.
time this morning. Yes, he is.
We're
For
gonna
a quick
change the
shot
lines, the
of
battle lines.
hold on
Russia
one second.
is occupied a big
VO9. Okay,
portion
let's go
of
to this
Ukraine.
one. This is Pitbull. Big D. Where's the t-shirt? We're looking for our t-shirt winner.
Oh, I love Mr. Worldwide. He's coming to Gilbert soon.
he is.
That's what that story is about.
Oh, VO10. Here
gonna
we go.
change the lines,
Nope,
the
that's
battle
Trump.
lines.
We do think
Russia's
Trump's got
occupied
a
a big-
t-shirt on, but that's not the t-shirt we're
We're going to
Here we
change
go.
the lines, the
Oh,
battle
throw it
lines. Russia's occupied a big portion of
Such
Ukraine.
is live TV. All right, there we go. Nope. Oh, here we go. All right, great. Thank you so much, Brian. Thank you from back there. This is Patricia Randolph, who many times gets the city correct in our chat. Patricia, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for wearing your Fox 10 Talks
I love your photos.
t-shirt so proudly. This is so great.
You look beautiful.
I love
yes,
her
she
hair
does.
color.
Stunning.
Patricia, is this like kind of like purpley? Like I like that. It looks
Yeah,
really
like
good.
the
purple
We
red.
can't have like as much fun
I know.
on TV, but I love that color. It
And
looks
by
good.
the way, we are going to be sending more t-shirts out, more requests. That's coming very, very soon. Anita and Ty up next. Thank you all for watching.
Tuesday. Here we are, everyone.
Welcome on in. We just keep Fox 10 Talks rolling in the 11 o'clock hour. We've got a busy show for you. A lot of headlines today.
A lot of headlines. We're going to revisit some stories that we covered many months ago and then talk about a few things that are happening today. And that includes Officer Fazio. I don't have all my information pulled up. Officer Fazio was shot in the line of duty. They were tracking down a suspect.
Yeah, earlier this summer, June 2nd, he was 46 years old, a 3-year veteran of the Apache Junction Police Department. So you might remember the story. The shooting occurred on Ironwood Drive and Elliott Road after officers responded to a road rage incident where the driver actually showed a gun. So they obviously were very concerned about what exactly was happening.
Correct.
Officer Fazio died 6 days later on June 8th. And then that suspect, his name is Roger Nunez, and he is expected to face homicide charges.
If I'm not mistaken, after he opened fire, officers opened fire, or returned fire. So he was in the hospital. And I know that they were waiting to see what his status would be before potentially pressing charges. So that's where we are now.
Yeah. And so Lauren is joining us live via Zoom. She is on her way to Florence this morning. Lauren, walk us through kind of the next steps, what you're heading to, and what's going to be happening today, if you can.
Hey there, guys. Yeah, we are heading to Florence, where Pinal County Attorney Brad Miller is going to be holding some type of press conference. Now, he hasn't laid out exactly what this press conference will entail. However, he says that it is an update on the Officer Fazio and the charges relating to his death and murder. Now, we know that Roger Nunez, a 37-year-old who is accused of shooting Officer Fazio in the face, where he died several days later in the hospital. You can see his picture right there. This is a 3-year veteran of the AJ Police Department, someone who was beloved as a father, as a husband, someone who was really admired even by the chief of police there. He said that Officer Fazio was one of his favorites there at the AJPD department. We've been told that Roger Nunez was looking at several charges, some of those including first-degree homicide and then also 7 counts of aggravated assault. Remember, he did shoot at several officers, striking, unfortunately, Officer Fazio, and then 2 counts of disorderly conduct. Again, we don't know exactly what this press conference will entail, but certainly perhaps an update on these charges. And I wouldn't be shocked, Anita and Ty, if we hear something about the possibility of the death penalty being here on the table. If you look at Arizona's statutory requirements here for first-degree murder, which is in lawyer speak 13/1105A3, you can get first-degree murder by intending or knowing that the person's conduct is going to cause the death to a law enforcement officer. And this is eligible in Arizona for the death penalty. So I wouldn't be shocked if that could be a possibility today. Again, we do not know this for sure. I'm just giving you perhaps a possibility of what we might hear today at that press conference, which is going to be starting in about an hour from now. But I was actually on the scene the day that Officer Fazio was shot. One of the most shocking things about this encounter is police were told, as Ty mentioned, that there was someone on the streets of AJ brandishing a firearm. People were calling 911. They pull over the suspect vehicle, which was a white Tesla. And police say Roger Nunez at first was pretty compliant. They ask him to get out of the car. He grabs a gun that's in his glove compartment and just starts walking away from police. AJ police say that he was not following any type of instructions, no verbal commands. He also wasn't responding to less lethal force. And they say that that's when he turned around and he started firing some shots at officers, ultimately striking Officer Fazio as well. And this was in a neighborhood community where the suspect was walking down. So neighbors were certainly frightened that June 2nd day in the afternoon, a brand new living area there in AJ with brand new homes and families. So this was certainly a very frightening situation for a lot of people involved. And again, this really really struck the AJ Police Department. This was the first line of duty death they've had in decades. A very close-knit department there. You could tell that all of the officers there love each other, are very, very close to each other, and losing one of their own who is just so passionate about his work, it was just absolutely devastating for them. So we are going to be there at that press conference, and we're going to give you guys the most up-to-date information on that as well.
Lauren, two questions, if you don't mind. If I'm not mistaken, Roger Nunez was hit by gunfire returned by police, obviously protecting themselves. What is his latest status? And then, are you surprised? I know you've been following this case, that a couple months later they're holding a press conference now.
Yeah, so we know that Roger Nunez was struck, and we know that he was in the hospital for quite some time. Now, HPD has never really released exactly the extent of these injuries. We just know that he was in the hospital for a certain amount of time. Now, as for several weeks before this press conference, I'm not necessarily surprised. You know, when it comes to making these types of decisions, prosecutors tend to have to review the entire case file. It can take some time going through all of this and, you know, making sure that they have what they need. And it could sometimes take a little bit of some time there. So not necessarily shocked to hear about this weeks later. Again, this is about 2 months, a little over 2 months from when this crime occurred there on June 2nd. So we'll have to wait and see, though, what exactly this press conference will entail. We are expecting the Pinal County prosecutor to speak, among some other people, too.
All right. Well, Lauren, we do appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. And I know it's not easy. I was just watching her do this live report while in a moving car. And I was
not
like,
easy.
Don't get car sick, Lauren. Don't get car sick.
Great job, Lauren. Thank you so much.
We appreciate it, Lauren. Thank you.
We'll look forward to those updates later on.
Yeah. Like she said, that's going to start in about an hour from now. So maybe if we get an update during the new news, she'll communicate with our producer and we can bring that to you if we get some updates for you.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple of other things that we have in the lineup. What would you like to cover?
Well,
what do you think?
Well, do you want to do something?
Well, we've
do you want
got
to do something
you've got
fun, or do you want to do something more hard news?
Let's talk about the Elmwood drowning.
Okay, this one's getting a lot of traction.
It is getting a lot, and it's very interesting. So back in May, we had a little boy. There's a Valley influencer on TikTok with millions and millions. Emily Kaiser, correct. And her little 3-year-old boy, Trig Kaiser, drowned in the backyard pool back in May. Emily had just had a baby. She was out of the home getting food, is the way that PD is saying it. Dad was at home. They're now saying in these new reports he was distracted. He had placed a $25 bet on an NBA playoff game. The television was playing that game, and that when they pulled surveillance video, they saw the little boy playing in the backyard alone for 3 minutes, and then in the pool for 7 minutes until the dog alerted the dad that something was wrong.
Yeah, he said that Brady saw the dog looking into the pool, and that's when Brady jumped up and was able to see the son in the pool. Such a sad story. Now, if you remember a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about the possibility of maybe Brady, the dad, being potentially charged with the crime. So they sent everything, Chandler PD sent everything over to the Maricopa County Attorney's Office. They decided in the end to not pursue any criminal charges, believing that a jury would not likely vote for a conviction in this case. But man, it is such a sad story. I mean, we see this all too often here in Arizona, but then to have kind of a family that has kind of made it their career, quote unquote, by kind of talking about, you know, they call it like mom talk on TikTok. She's kind of made it her whole identity is kind of talking about her kids. So just kind of just a tragedy that this has kind of brought a spotlight on this family.
We do have to pray for their peace and hope that they find that. Okay, now let's talk about something fun, because we had some 2 difficult stories, right? A few minutes before break.
All right, this one came up, and I was like, this cannot be a thing still. So listen to this. AOL still has dial-up.
Want me to do it?
Yeah, do the...
Beep, 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 beep,
No,
beep.
that's not... And then it goes...
I tried to do it in the new newscast yesterday. You were gone. Crystal thought I did a good job. I thought I sounded like R2D2. I didn't know dial-up still existed, to be honest with you.
I didn't know that dial-up still existed either, but it's going away.
It does, but not for much longer.
The end of the month, it's going to be gone. So if you have AOL dial-up, I don't know who is still using dial-up. I would really like to see the numbers of the amount of people that
they still have a fairly decent amount of customers.
Are you serious? That is using dial-up still.
But are there people who can't get the broadband internet and they have to have dial-up?
I don't know. You would think
very
that like
rural areas.
What's his name's got the satellites up there? Elon Musk. You could get those satellite internet.
Anybody in the chat have AOL
Are you guys
dial-up?
using dial-up?
I'm
this
really,
morning?
really curious if anyone has dial-up.
Oh, so it's pretty interesting.
My question was, I don't really remember.
You don't remember dial-up?
I remember dial-up, but I don't remember.
I remember it all the time.
How long did it last? Or was that like when you couldn't connect, it would just go do the noise? Like it would just go on and on? Is that how you would listen?
Then it would like connect to your modem.
But what
and
if
then
you
you'd be on?
What if you couldn't connect to the modem?
Then it would like go on forever.
That's what I'm saying.
Then you would hear those sounds. But then if someone picked up the phone, you're like, I'm on the internet.
Oh.
You're trying to get your email.
Okay.
Remember this?
Yeah, I do.
Back in the day. So like, yeah, they said it started in 1990s when you could do the dial-up. But now, September 30th, it's coming to an end. No more dial-up. It's kind of amazing just to think how far we have come. That now you can get Wi-Fi on your plane.
Well, you can, and you just need your phone for everything.
Yeah.
Cactus J says, I miss the days of dial-up. Tell us why. Tell us why.
Give us a reason.
Frankie D said, I had to get rid of dial-up, way too slow. Jen Wallace says, everything else is just too expensive. And this is what I was asking. Husky Mom says, some places don't have updated Wi-Fi access. There was a story from back east where they didn't have the internet access.
But I feel like now it is such a prerequisite, or not a prerequisite, but it's something that like almost as a necessity that you've got to have internet service to like just be able to communicate day in, day out.
Sometimes I wish I didn't have internet service.
Back in we could go back.
And we could just read books and play outside.
Sometimes
but I'm also not 12 years old.
The smartphones anymore.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think about those people that just went back to getting the what is this called?
Flip phones?
Yes.
Or
the old flip phone.
Foldable phones? Or I don't
just the flip phone. With like, barely any function
Patricia Randolph says AOL was my first ISP.
Oh, do you remember Snake on the old Nokia phones?
No.
Oh, I could play that for hours.
No.
Anybody in the chat remember Snake on the old Nokia phones?
I had a Razor. Okay, we'll be right back.
No, you had a Razor for your first phone? Rich.
No, my dad worked for Motorola.
All right, welcome back, you guys. All right, if you were watching a couple weeks ago, we had Tracy on, and Tracy started the STEP program, and I was just blown away by the program, what you started, and just how it's kind of transforming lives for these young individuals. So Tracy, I'm so glad that we were able to bring you back to kind of do a longer form interview, because we only had 3 minutes.
Right.
And I had so many more questions for you about this program.
Enough.
It's never enough. So that's why I was like, we got to get Tracy back. And finally, our schedules were aligned, and I'm so glad that you were able to join us this morning.
It is great to be here, Ty. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Tell us a little bit about the STEP program.
So I established STEP in 2004. So we are now a little over 20 years old.
Good for you.
Strange way to get there. My background is oceanography. I was teaching semesters at sea and also instructing with Outward Bound and the National Outdoor Leadership School.
So when you say at sea,
you
were literally on boats?
Yes,
ships.
Tall ships and sailing vessels.
And then how long were you out there for?
For a full semester.
Wow.
Really?
With college students.
How amazing.
And they were fantastic programs, and they were really transformational for the students, because it's not just taking courses, but you become part of the crew.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, and then also with the National Outdoor Leadership School, just really teaching experiential courses where students are really challenged and have to meet those challenges, and they're really transformed by that, right?
That sounds as about hands-on as you can get.
Super hands-on.
Wow, I love
super
that.
hands-on.
Yeah.
But I was finding that I was only working with wealthy students. And I started to look at and see, where is everybody else? What about let me look into these education statistics. And I found that there's this large and persistent educational achievement gap between low-income and high-income students. And when you see something like that, that's not on ability alone, right? What is going on there? And so I spent some time talking to educators, teachers, counselors, principals. I said, what is going on with this? And they said, Tracy, there's so many students we know that were doing really well in school, taking the most challenging courses, excelling, doing the hard work, and everybody thought they were on track to go to college. And they didn't go to college because they were the first, and nobody in their family had gone to college before them. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's who I want to work with. And so I knew I wanted to take students out on a very challenging experience. I knew I didn't have to reinvent the wheel. So I reached out to the National Outdoor Leadership School, and I said, are you interested in partnering with me to get our Arizona students up to Alaska? Sea kayaking. Wow. So literally I wanted to put them in as foreign as an environment as possible, right? If I could have put them on the moon, I would have done that.
And Tracy, you mentioned before, a lot of these kids have probably never left the valley. So going
Absolutely.
to someplace like Alaska is kind of a mind-blowing experience.
It's mind-blowing also for 3 weeks. This is a 3-week experience. They do not have access to their cell phones.
I was going to say no access to Wi-Fi for sure.
Right, no Wi-Fi, no cell phones.
Cell phones. How old are these kids?
They are rising seniors in high school.
Okay.
So we did that. And I hate to say just the expedition, but we did that from 2004 to 2011. But I was finding my students coming back. I would ask them where they apply into school, and they had very limited options of where. Often the local community college and ASU, or they would say Stanford. That was always one that came up, right? And I thought, gosh, there's a lot of other options out there. So in 2011, what I like to say is we jumped in the deep end of the pool, and we started a full comprehensive college prep program, multi-year. So starting in their sophomore year all the way through high school graduation, including in the summer before their senior year, this Alaska leadership expedition with Knowles.
So I'm sorry, that's kind of like the culmination. Is the Alaska trip, right?
Yes. Now, that being said, we are working with many more students. We started with 9 back in 2004. We are now working with over 100 students per class.
That was going to be my question then. So
yes.
Do you have a location where all these students come to work with you, or are you integrating your lesson plans and what you're teaching into other schools where you have all of these hundreds of students?
We have 2 great partners, and there are 2 of our Arizona universities, because we work both in Tucson and Phoenix. So in Tucson, it's the University of Arizona, and here in Phoenix, it's ASU, and we have our workshops at ASU West Campus. Okay. So that's where we do our monthly workshops. We do individual advising, and then we're doing writing workshops. We're doing self-advocacy skill training. training. I mean, it's really comprehensive. We're doing ACT prep, right? So we really become their college parents. And then we have this leadership experience for 36 students. We have scholarships between ourselves and Knowles. Knowles helps to fund this. 36 scholarships each year to do this expedition. Now we've also expanded in the summer between their sophomore and junior year. We're working with colleges and universities that have them go and live on campus for 2 to 3 weeks and get that first experience as a college student. So again, it's a hugely comprehensive program now.
Which gives them maybe a little bit more incentive to find a way to get there.
Well,
is what you're hoping for.
And with our program, they know how to get there.
Yeah. Right.
So this is what we're teaching them. So, and this is something that I think we don't talk about enough about, is if a low-income student is willing to take the most challenging courses at their high school and do the hard work to excel, there are schools in this country that will 100% cover their financial need.
They just need to know how to do it.
Right.
Navigating is probably the hardest part.
It's huge. It's huge. And, you know, in Arizona, the counselor to student ratio is about a little over 600.
Wow.
So no matter how passionate a counselor you are, no matter how much you come into this saying, I'm going to really help these, the numbers are just, you know, you can't do anything with that.
It's difficult to get to every kid.
Yeah. So that's what we do. We come into their lives and really become that counselor, that college parent, to take them through that entire process.
And especially because a lot of these, as you mentioned, first time maybe in their whole household that has gone to college. So there's nobody kind of show them the ropes or navigate the
application process, scholarship application processes.
Yes,
I mean,
it's
how
huge.
to pick a dorm, how do you even pick a college?
Yeah, how
that's
do you
good for you?
and how do you even decide what schools you're going to apply
How to take
to?
the ACTs?
So one of the things that we do, we certainly work with our wonderful Arizona universities, and we've had a lot of our students go to those. We also, the only schools that we expose our students to outside of Arizona are those that will guarantee to meet their full financial need. If they're admitted, they will guarantee to meet their full financial need with scholarships and grants, and sometimes with some small loans. But those schools just happen to be the top ranked schools in the country. We're not targeting schools because they're top ranked. We're targeting because they meet the financial need of our students. And so our students are going to top schools around the country and being successful and getting degrees, and some going on to graduate school. I mean, it really is spectacular. 96% of our alumni are in college or have a college degree.
How do you find these students?
That was going to be my next question. What's kind of the prerequisites? How do you, and how do you?
So
are you recruiting, or is it now the program in 28 plus years has grown so much that they're coming to you and saying, we'd like to apply?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
We certainly have a reputation now, a very good reputation, but we work with large public high schools throughout Tucson and Phoenix. And we do a huge outreach in the fall every year to sophomores, high school sophomores. And we go and we give a presentation, we answer all the questions, we take them through the application. And so the application typically opens in early October, and then that application needs to be handed in around Thanksgiving. And then we are reviewing that application.
I was going to say, what does it entail?
So it entails quite a bit, actually, because we're looking for students that want to work hard. Really, if you were to ask me, what am I looking for in a student? I'm looking for internal motivation to work hard, okay? And so our application reflects that. Our application has 6 to 7 essays.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
So if a student looks at that application and says, I don't want to write 6 to 7 essays, they're probably not a good fit for STEP, right? But for somebody that's willing to jump in and do the hard work to put together a fantastic application, we get super excited about
Because, I mean,
those
it can
students.
open so many doors. I mean, swing those doors wide open.
Wide
Kick 'em
open, wide open. And what we say is we're not about going to college, we're about getting a college degree.
Yeah.
That's a very different thing.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
I mean, they sent over your resume, by the way.
Let's not.
It was like 6 pages, and I was like, man, you're so accomplished. So obviously education is important to you.
Huge.
So you must feel a sense of, I don't know, let me ask you, what is your sense when you see these kids and you mentioned that 96% are graduating from college?
Yes. I got to tell you, it really warms my heart because, you know, I think the key piece of this is they are the ones doing the hard work.
Yeah.
Right? We're not like just giving them something. They're doing the hard work.
It's like, but you can lead a horse to water, they say, right?
It's that
you can say, here's the money for college, but they need to know how to earn that money and how to get to that point.
And the hard work it's going to take to have schools interested in admitting them, knowing that they can handle the rigor that these schools have. But it is like, instead of giving somebody fish, it's teaching them how to fish, right? And what I love is our students then go on and we're giving them the skills. One of those key things is self-advocacy, right? You've got to be able to ask for help. You've got to know how to look for resources and get the help you need. And because we want our students to be able to take it from here and really take on those challenges that college will absolutely have. Right?
I'm on your website right now, and I clicked on the apply portion, which it does say right now it's closed, but October's right around the corner if anyone is watching and listening. You do have an application tips video, but you must meet all qualifications: sophomore, unweighted GPA of 3.6 or higher, multiple honor classes, neither parent has a 4-year degree, low income. And I thought it was interesting that you said your essay responses are the core, in all capital, application. Spend time on those responses, proofread, and proofread.
Again, we start training them right from the get-go. From the moment that we first talk to them in an outreach presentation, we're saying, hey, and not only first step, but for any application that you fill out, in the future. So we're starting right away. And then we're reading a lot of applications, and we're really, again, looking for those people that we know will work hard, because it is hard work for the next 3 years. And then, of course, when you go to college.
Trace, we got about a minute and a half left, but I wanted to show some of the photos, because this is
Alaska, real quick.
The adventure that they get to go on. And you brought, when you were here last time, 2 of your students who just got back, and they lit up talking about it. I mean, that must be so cool to see.
Yes, it is.
Doing things that they thought they never could.
I will tell you, when our students first go to Alaska, they are completely in a foreign environment, okay? And they're completely kind of discombobulated and really kind of, I would say, if I gave them a go home free card at the very beginning, they would take it. Because it's raining, there's bugs, it's cold, right? But then the second week they start to get it, they start to really understand how to camp and how to be out there. And then the third week they really are thriving and leading their peers. And it's that transfer, that whole 3 weeks is so important to when they come back. They really have so much more confidence. They're so much more helpful at home to their parents. The parents are like, what did you do to my child?
Thank you.
They left a child, they came back an adult.
Send all the kids to Alaska with you.
Yeah.
How do people get a hold of you? We've got less than 30 seconds.
So I tell you, if anybody Google searches STEP Expedition or STEP College Prep, you will get directly to us. And my information is also on the website, but we have a really wonderful website that takes you through what we do. So we'd love to, and I also want to say it's important.
We do not 5 seconds. I'm so sorry.
We don't have partner high schools. Anybody can apply.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right. Des
Thank
is
you.
next. Tracy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello. Right here, fashionably late, but fashionable. That's what they say. You guys look at now. You guys are kind of matching.
Look at that.
We like to call it the hot walk.
That's right. There you go.
You look great today, Andy.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back. Glad to be joined by you guys again.
Yeah. How's it going? You just
It's good.
outside. It's like nonstop all day.
You guys, I was just talking about your schedule, and man, it's hard to keep up.
Well, you guys too upstairs.
I know. It's fun though. It's fun when it's busy, and then it's just like when it's a slow day like today, you're like, what am I doing? Twiddling my thumbs.
You're like, am I doing everything I need to do? Is
I
there
know.
something else I'm missing?
Just waiting and trying to prepare for any moment that you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Nice to see you, my friend.
It's good to be
That's
here.
the fun of being on live now, huh?
I know. Every time, every day is something different.
Yeah, but it is 11:30 our time here
There you
at
go.
home, here
Yep.
in Arizona. Thanks for joining us, you guys, and staying on the stream here. We did have the White House briefing
You're
happen
correct.
this morning. So what's
Correct.
kind of the recap on that?
So Caroline Leavitt obviously talked about the big announcements yesterday from Trump and all the DC takeover, taking over the police, kind of what they were laying the groundwork for them in terms of the homeless population in that region. Also, we learned the location on Friday. It's going to be in Anchorage, Alaska, and it's going to be one-on-one between Trump and Putin. So it's unlikely that Zelensky is going to be there, the Ukrainian president. So that is kind of the big news that come out today from the White House briefing. So just kind of recapping what we heard yesterday, really in terms of that, kind of getting a little bit more detail into some of this. But the big one yesterday, and there's kind of some minor details today from White House.
Mm-hmm. Okay, interesting. Yeah, do you think that'll change Friday, that Zelensky might end up being part of that, or no? It's like that he's not going to be part of Friday, but hopefully future discussions.
Probably not. And it's kind of interesting because all the European leaders are like, they need to be in the room to make sure, because there's going to be conversations about concessions of land. And obviously with Russia invading Ukraine, Ukrainians don't want to give away any more land that they've already felt like they've had taken away from them. So with them not being in the room, it's going to be hard for them to advocate for themselves, for their country. But President Trump has kind of said he'll figure it out 2 minutes in. So he'll have a sense of a deal potentially can be made. But Zelensky obviously wants to be there, and him not being there is going to change the conversation significantly from a bilateral to a trilateral. But one-on-one right now is what we hear.
They're going to have to be a big I mean, Zelensky should probably start making travel arrangements.
Yeah.
It's Tuesday.
Yeah.
We should know by tomorrow, because it's a long way to travel to be a part of those conversations. And when you're negotiating, there's a lot of people that are saying he probably should be there.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that believe that, a lot of different countries in Europe that also believe that, because obviously they're standing kind of strong with Ukraine, and it's going to be interesting to see what the conversation is about concessions in land, because that is kind of a hard line for Ukraine, saying they don't want to give up anything in terms of that. So them not being in the room, they can't say that. So it'll be interesting on Friday. We'll see. We don't know. Literally, we know it's in Anchorage. We don't know the time. We don't know if cameras will be, what the optics look like.
The location?
We do know Anchorage.
No, like where in Anchorage?
We don't know. We don't know exactly, but at least
for safety reasons,
yeah,
that makes sense.
And we
too.
got a little bit of minor details, just a little bit. Coming up.
All
Piece
right.
by piece.
Well, Canada. Do we want to talk about Canada?
We can talk about Canada if you want. Yeah.
Let's take a look at Canada here. So the story this morning is Canadian car visits to the U.S. plunging by about 37%. This is kind of in the month of July. So this, summertime travel down. But some of the hardest hit states, cities, Seattle, Portland, Detroit, kind of hit the hardest. What do you guys think about that? Are you surprised by this?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, every kind of place is down. We hear Vegas a lot where it's like, hey, travel's down, so tourism's down. So obviously the kind of relationship between the United States, they have kind of that tariff trade war that's going on, and so like that just accentuates it a little bit. And obviously not only cars that are driving on the road, but cars that are being shipped to the United States, and we know how big of a trade partner they are. Obviously Michigan is a huge trading partner with Canada, and you mentioned Detroit right there, Windsor right across the river. So I guess it's not too surprising. So, I mean, like maybe it's just a part of the fallout from the tariffs a little bit.
Yeah, and I think you have a lot of people up in like, let's say Seattle area. A lot of Canadians actually own lake houses in northern portions of Washington. So then they're not actually making those trips down south anymore either. You know, some of the information coming out say that obviously we mentioned the tariffs, perceived hostility, the political climate, and instead of coming to the United States, a lot of them are now going to places like Europe.
Correct.
Yeah, European visitors are up.
Well, that's interesting. And it's kind of interesting to look at that. And we'll see, maybe it is a trend. We'll see if it changes into the future or changes next year, because some things like that may be built to fluctuate. But it's interesting to look at just kind of the habits of people moving.
Right, kind of the ebbs and flows.
Correct.
And then when they looked at air travel, there was also a 26% decrease. But some reports show that July was the 7th consecutive month of steep declines in inbound Canadian travel with double-digit year-over-year drops, both car and air. Now, I'm from Buffalo. You guys, have either one of you ever been to Buffalo?
Not Buffalo.
No.
Okay. Albany, Cooperstown.
Well, you can visit
the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, you got to visit Niagara on our side, and then Niagara, Ontario, obviously, and we're really close to Toronto, so that's a little surprising. I mean, growing up, we would always go over and cross the bridge into Canada, and a lot of Canadians right there in Niagara Falls on the U.S. side. There's a prime outlet. So that is a prime destination spot for a lot of Canadians near our hometown. They like to do a lot of shopping.
Maybe
and
Black Friday.
So, oh, absolutely. They're stocking up. Yeah, for sure.
I don't think people realize how interconnected all of these communities are right there along the border. Also happens kind of the southern border as well. But the northern border, I mean, Buffalo right there across the river, and obviously Niagara Falls is so very cool. Detroit, Windsor is just right there. And you mentioned Seattle. So
Seattle's
all
right
these
there by
communities
Vancouver.
are just there is a border there, but they're just they're basically the same community. They're all one.
They are. Go back and forth.
Do you get to Canada much?
We go up to Vancouver. My husband's from Seattle, Edmonds area, which is northern portion of Seattle. So we would go. He grew up skiing in Whistler, and he'd go back and forth. And so we've taken the kids up to Whistler to spring ski. Winters are too cold, but you do see that same type of relationship between Canadians and Americans up in the far northwest part of the country.
I just can't picture Syleste. I love Syleste on the slopes. That should be a segment we should just do here. I think that would be a good one.
That's got a good ring to it.
I could take that little market, the magic carpet ride up on the bunny slope.
I love it. Yeah, it's too cold. I mean, it gets cold in Canada.
It does, actually, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Where is your favorite spot to travel?
Oh, that is a good question.
We're looking like beach vacations. You want to hit the slopes with Syleste?
I'm a Denver kid, so the mountains
I love mountains.
are calling my name a lot.
Yeah.
But I live in Phoenix now, so the heat.
Oh, are you getting acclimated?
I love it. I lived in Minnesota previously, so I'll take warm over cold very much. So yeah. I'm jealous of you guys. Niagara's so cool. Whistler's so very impressive.
I think that there's a lot of the cool thing, you mentioned Arizona, the cool thing about Arizona is that you have 5 different climate zones. And so you have, if you want to go to the beach, you've got Lake Pleasant, but if you want to go to the mountains, you can hike at San Francisco Peaks. And at the very top, you're at 12,000 feet in elevation. And then you have Southern Arizona, you have Mount Lemmon and all these different spots to explore.
Yeah.
That's the beauty, I think, of Arizona.
No, I love it. Yeah, in Colorado, it's a joke that if you want to have really a Colorado day, you ski in the morning and then you golf in the afternoon in Denver. So
awesome.
I love just the different climates is great.
Yeah.
Okay, and I heard a similar analogy before moving to Arizona. You can bring the snow down in the bed of your truck and have a snowball fight in the middle of the desert. And I was like, what? It made no sense to me prior to moving here. Especially being from Buffalo. I'm like, we're the tundra there.
Oh yeah, Buffalo, you don't get
cold.
that. You don't get that.
Yeah,
you got to thaw out a little bit after the winter.
So we'll see what happens here. I'm curious to know what's driving this trend. Hopefully it doesn't continue because, like you mentioned, a lot of these communities are intertwined. The economy, of course, as well. So
yeah, and it's maybe our conversation right now will bump the percentages up a little bit just to get people excited about traveling. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean.
Maybe we'll consume more Canadian bacon. I don't know.
All the syrup, the maple syrup, all that stuff. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see if the trends change, and I mean, people's habits change, so we'll see.
Yeah.
And there's got to be a deal that comes together at some point between the United States and Canada. Mark Carney's pushing hard for it. So there's going to be some movement.
Yeah.
So much, I think, juggling in the White House and all the, you know what I mean? It's got a lot of pots on the burner.
Yeah.
Anything else today out of that White House briefing that you're keeping an eye on for the day?
Just reiterating the fact that the National Guard is being deployed to Washington, D.C. They're talking about the cooperation. Pam Bondi said she spoke with the mayor of D.C., Muriel Bowser, about kind of that. They said they're going to really lean into the laws already on the books. They're going to allow federal authorities to kind of work in cooperation with D.C. police to get that. And then they're talking about homeless population and the like. So we've seen other cities, other local communities. We're just hearing, I think it's happening almost right now out of Philadelphia, talking about concern over National Guard being deployed to places like that.
I mean, are we really thinking that could be the case? I mean, D.C. is unique in the fact that it's
correct.
Not a state per se. You know, it's under federal territory. So can that really happen in Philly, Baltimore, as some of the cities that he mentioned?
And we've seen it in LA. So there's obviously legal battles going on right now. So we haven't even seen the culmination or the conclusion of that one. So yes, and it's interesting that DC, he basically has the legal jurisdiction to do it. Other places, we don't know. And I think other cities are just kind of getting prepared for the fact that it might happen. So be prepared rather than get prepared.
Maybe it's more of like a negotiation tool too. When you, I mean, we do have wild crime going on off parts of California and other parts of the country as well. And I think a lot of people, constituents in those cities, are saying, you know, I can't walk my dog at night, or I can't leave my car, you know, even though it's locked, and you know, and I think maybe, you know, the president is listening to those people, and maybe this is a negotiation tactic and saying, hey, I'm going to deploy the National Guard unless you do something about this and stop being so lenient on crime.
Yeah, and they also mentioned in D.C. the fact that maybe juveniles, the 14, the 15, the 16, the 17-year-olds that may not really fall into a category of some of this crime, that you're a juvenile, you can kind of get away with some of these stuff, so to speak. Maybe they're clamping down on that a little bit. And we heard that in L.A. about street takeovers. So, like different communities.
And local businesses. I mean, it's not just people being robbed, but looting and things like that. I mean, it really is chaos on in some cities.
Well, maybe it takes reevaluating the system, right? And taking a look at some of those cases and the punishments that followed. And if they were too lenient, maybe making them a little more harsh. But, you know, do you want a 14-year-old necessarily tried as an adult and getting that same type of punishment if it's about rehabilitation and trying to rebuild and make your community better?
And it may depend on the crime. You know, may depend on the crime.
Right. And is sending in the National Guard the right way to do that too? There's lots of conversations about that. Or is that too strong of a both optics but also strategy? Because, I mean, they are not necessarily trained to handle the civilian population. So there's a lot of different factors into that. So we'll see. And it's only
you're
like
busy, Andy.
It's only like temporary. So
30 days for now.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's not going to be a forever thing, but we'll see. We'll see if it impacts anything.
All right, good. Okay, we're going to throw up the mystery camera. Get your guesses in, and we'll reveal the answer on the other side of the break. All right, welcome back. Okay, we got a couple guesses in the chat, you guys. Frankie D guessing our mystery cam is in Iowa. And then Husky Mom's thinking this is Ohio.
I don't see any corn.
Is
So
that
Iowa-
helping you out? You don't see any corn?
Jens Wall says Indiana or Illinois.
Okay.
And so those
Good
are a couple
guesses
of
as
other
well.
ideas. Yeah.
You know what would have been fun if it was Duluth, where Ron Hoon is visiting right now.
I would
I'm not
know
sure that it
Duluth.
is.
What are you
though.
guys going to go with? What's the guess?
I'm thinking further south. I'm thinking.
You thinking further south?
I'm like in like a Baton Rouge.
I'm
or
going to go
something.
like a Mississippi.
Okay, I'm saying like Baton Rouge. I'm saying.
You're
like,
going to go with Baton Rouge?
I'm saying
Isn't that
that's-
where LSU is?
That's what I'm saying. That's
Yeah.
what I kind of pick out the dome there, and that's kind of what I'm looking for.
Oh,
good call.
okay.
No,
That's a
but
all
it's
right.
not.
I'm just gonna go with Frankie D. All right, so you're not alone there
What
with
you got?
Iowa. I don't know, but Andy, you
Iowa?
can do the big reveal here
is
if
the
you'd
big-
like.
Okay,
Mystery
drum
cam.
What does
roll
the
for
winner
you.
get?
Oh, there you go. Champaign, Illinois.
Oh,
There you
Champaign,
go.
Illinois.
Okay.
That's where the University of Illinois
Maybe they're
is.
maybe they're cheersing to some champagne there in
There you
Illinois
go.
this morning. Andy, thanks for joining us, buddy.
That's great. No,
So
thanks
great
for
to
having
see you,
me.
my friend.
Oh, I got
Yeah,
shut
so
out
good
in
to
that
see
mystery
you.
camp.
Yeah.
We'll see you again.
All
right,
right,
see you
thanks,
soon, buddy.
buddy.
Listen, guys.
All right, one final look there. And right now, we want to get to Jeremy Duda. He's a reporter for Axios. Jeremy, hi, there you are. I'm new at the button board here. Good morning. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to speak with us. So fascinating, this article that's out. Sandra Day O'Connor voted most influential figure in Arizona history. And you wrote this piece and did the research behind this. So explain what went into this and how people voted.
Jeremy, you're muted.
Oh, we're just going to take Jeremy off of mute.
Sorry about-
Hey, Jeremy, can you hear us?
All right. So what went into this is basically, I guess, more or less a lifetime of being a local history nerd, but a lot of research. I've been wanting to do something like this for about 10 years, and did a lot of research on who there were influential figures from Arizona history from really all walks of life. I mean, not just political figures like O'Connor and John McCain and Barry Goldwater, but you have musicians like Linda Ronstadt and Alice Cooper, Frank Lloyd Wright, Jerry Colangelo. Just people from all different walks of life. And I put together a bracket. It was a 32-round bracket, kind of like March Madness, and just had a survey on our website where day by day my Axios Phoenix readers could vote on who they wanted to advance out of these head-to-head matchups. And at the very end, it was Sandra Day O'Connor versus John McCain, and O'Connor won with almost 2/3 of the vote. So Arizona really loves Sandra Day O'Connor.
That's pretty amazing. You must be a March Madness fan. How did you come up with this idea to put together the bracket?
The idea originally came from something that I saw online about a decade ago. It was a political science professor put together a bracket of the greatest Americans to never become president, the greatest American political figures to never become president, and that got me thinking about kind of a similar bracket of great and influential Arizona historical figures. And so it's just kind of an idea. I started kind of sketching out the idea many years ago, and I thought now was kind of a good time to let my readers at Axios Phoenix vote on that and put it together, and it was a lot of fun. I think people really enjoyed it.
And what is it about her legacy that, really is going to stand the test of time, in your opinion? I mean, she was just a phenomenal woman all the way around.
Well, of course, I mean, obviously her legacy, first and foremost will be, being, not just a Supreme Court justice, but the first woman on the Supreme Court, and her role in shaping a lot of very important decisions. I think what gets overlooked a lot, especially at the national level, but even here in Arizona, is, her effect here in the state. Before she was on the Supreme Court, she was a very influential member of the Arizona legislature. She passed a lot of laws repealing statutes that were discriminatory towards women. She passed some landmark mental health legislation. She was kind of, in some descriptions, the godmother of the merit selection system that's used to select judges in Maricopa County and some of the other most popular counties. Ironically, she was from the last class of judges in Maricopa County who were elected to the position in 1974, which is the same year voters approved the merit selection process. But she was a champion of merit selection and really did a lot of work to help get that on the ballot and get that passed. And then, of course, she spent years on the bench here in Arizona first on Superior Court and then on the Court of Appeals before, Ronald Reagan chose her as his first Supreme Court appointee.
Jeremy, I love that you're a Phoenix native. Where'd you go to high school?
Greenway.
Oh, good for you. Awesome. I'm a Sun Devil, but we still love you here because we know you're a Wildcat. Were you floored by some of the responses? When you named off some of those names, I mean, think of Jerry Colangelo. Think of everything that he's contributed as well, and some of the other big female names. I mean, we didn't have the D-backs if it wasn't for Jerry Colangelo. He was a big supporter of Grand Canyon University. The business school is named after him. There's so many different things that I think he brought and a lot of other people brought. Were you at all floored by the results?
No. I mean, it's not surprising that folks would find, Colangelo to be such an influential figure. I mean, you mentioned the D-backs, but before that, he brought the Phoenix Suns here in the late 60s, our first professional sports franchise, our first major professional sports franchise. And, that was a time when Phoenix was, growing really rapidly, and nothing says big city like big time pro sports. And that was our first team.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Yeah, what an influential. Tell us a little bit about your book, if you can. Let me read the title. If This Be Treason, The American Rogues and Rebels Who Walked the Line Between Dissent and Betrayal. What is your book about? And it sounds like an interesting title and an interesting read.
The book is about, based on the concept of people who, treason is kind of a rhetorical term. I mean, treason is the only crime defined in the U.S. Constitution, but it so often gets used for things that don't meet that very strict definition. So the book looks at about a dozen incidents from throughout U.S. history where people were kind of accused of treason, but falling short of that definition. People who were accused of in some way being disloyal to the country or betraying the country, and some of them were folks who were very negative legacies. Some of them were people with very positive legacies, some with kind of mixed or unknown legacies. But it's about a dozen kind of isolated incidents from American history going back to the earliest days of independence up through the 1980s.
It's pretty amazing.
All right. Jeremy, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate your time.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Fascinating.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's great. There's so much wonderful history. I think that, he kind of talked a little bit about it, but historical figures, people in our state who really kind of like lifted Phoenix up, lifted Arizona up and made it what it is today. And we have to pay homage to them because it's including Sandra Day O'Connor because they did so many great things. It was so amazing.
I mean, you have the Sandra Day O'Connor School at Arizona State.
The law school, yeah, you're right.
So it's really cool to just see how that is continuing to build that legacy.
Yeah,
so true.
To have a legacy live on forever like that. Pretty special.
Yeah.
All right, so we go from that to gas station food, ladies. What is your favorite gas station food?
You're going to have to let me think because I don't normally get
All
food
right.
from a
Well, while
gas
you're
station.
thinking on that, so we're talking gas station food because there's a new ranking out, and you probably wouldn't expect Arizona to be at the top, but 2 Arizona gas station restaurants actually ranked in the top 10 of Yelp's nationwide ranking. So Mesa's Brooklyn, New York Pizza and Wings landed at number 8. The restaurant has a counter inside of a Chevron corner store. It's near Recker and Brown Roads. I don't think I've ever had the pizza from there, but I might have to add that one to the list.
Yeah, and this one right here is Bing's Burger Station at the end of Main Street in Cottonwood, Arizona. I just pulled up their menu to take a closer look at what they have. I love a good
number
burger.
10.
I love a good burger.
We know you do.
And I love French fries. That is my food. My favorite food in all the world are French fries. But they've got the deluxe burger, a protein style burger at Bing's.
Okay. Oh,
they've got a patty melt, the veggie burger for all you vegetarians out there, hot pastrami and Swiss. That sounds
good.
That sounds so good. But look how sweet this is. It kind of takes you back to a time
like
in
an
Arizona.
old diner feel.
Yeah, and the gas station, with the old car out front and everything. It's so sweet.
Yeah, so now it's a retro diner gas station right along Main Street there in Cottonwood. Arizona was the only state with 2 spots in the top 10. So
what was the
that's
other
pretty
spot?
Impressive.
Do we know? Huh.
Oh, yeah, these two.
These
Brooklyn.
two. Yeah, Brooklyn, New York. Yeah, Brooklyn, New York
Wings.
Wings. Yeah,
And
Brooklyn,
then
New York
Bing's.
is where do we say Chevron Corner Store near Recker and Brown. Roads.
Gotcha.
And listen to this with I'm sorry, I'm totally glued
Are you
to
all
this
getting
menu.
into the menu?
So the Neapolitan banana split. Don't you love like an old-fashioned banana split?
I despise a banana split.
Oh, really?
It's disgusting.
And
I used to work at an ice cream shop.
Oh,
and
that's
through
probably why.
college. I would love making them.
Oh.
But I do not enjoy consuming.
Or
them.
like a
It's
root
just
beer
too
float.
much.
That's on the menu. That sounds delicious. Ice cream cookie sandwich. That's on the menu.
We're going to have to go.
I know. This sounds like a
getting
great,
really hungry.
beer battered cod fish sandwich. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm
my
totally glued on
gosh.
this.
Wait,
but
so let's get in the chat here because food always does it, right?
Always.
Food always seems to get people talking.
We want the chat to get going. We talk about food or we pull up the Dave cam.
Dave Rousseau actually says, "Hi, Isabella."
Hi.
So in the chat here, Frankie D says, taquitos, QT taquitos, though, to be exact. And Husky Mom is right with him going to QT, but for the breakfast pizza.
Oh, interesting. Huh.
Listen to Patricia Randolph. She says, Papas Locos and the Nogales Chevron. There's actually a Chevron on 3rd Street and Indian School that has breakfast burritos right in the heart of downtown
Yum.
Phoenix. They've had those for a while. But Dave Rousseau says, Cottonwood sounds good right now. And you're absolutely right. It's going to be 112 in the Valley. Don't worry. We'll see 104 by Saturday, though that is
Should
the
we
good thing.
should we throw up the Dave cam and see what his favorite
Big Dave.
gas
Hey,
station
you did it. Nice
convenience
job.
store
How's it
food
going,
is?
friends?
I feel like most people run in for like the hot dog, Dave.
Yeah, hot dog is the easy go-to, but I think it's so cool that so many gas stations have such extreme, over-the-top meals. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, well, and then you guys, we're getting Buc-ee's.
Oh, yes.
Too, in the West Valley.
Oh, good
but
year.
it's like, is that even considered a gas station food at this point? I mean, it's like a full-blown restaurant.
like
I
a
get catering
superstore.
from Buc-ee's.
It's got gas station. If you
Come
got
on,
gas
they're doing
pumps,
brisket.
it's a gas station, but
That's
it's
what I want.
elevated. There's a
That
spot
is what I
called
want,
Tom's
Desiree.
Thumb up on Bell Road and it might be
Oh,
96th
yes, Tom's
Street.
Thumb is so good.
They've got a great barbecue shop inside, and you can grab gas and a car wash.
Well, there you go.
Ice cream shop, too. Yeah, they've got just about everything.
I love that.
All right, got us pretty hungry this morning.
I know. I'm so hungry. What ice cream shop did you work at?
So it was a little place. It was kind of similar to a Dairy Queen, but they serve food as well. So it was
Fun.
like if you can think of DQ, it
Cute.
was like that.
Ron
Yeah.
would approve.
Yes, yes, he would. Absolutely. What time are we out today, Dave? Remind me. I'm new at this still. All right.
Oh,
okay,
perfect.
so do we want to talk weather and whatever? Do you want to do a quick promo? When can folks catch you
you
and
guys
Ashley?
can catch that today. It's happening at 1 p.m., 1 to 1:30, and Ashley and I will be talking about some fun topics. So
It's
I
gonna be
hope you guys
amazing.
can join us.
Oh, fun. Wait, what topic's next? Can you drop a little nugget? Oh,
music mean
it's
we're done?
coming.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for
All right.
watching, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.